Don't come to Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan is like a hell zone. You get here and it's hard to get out of here.
Flint didn't just have a water crisis. It had one crisis after another after another. We went to document the city's comeback. Instead, we found ruins and people living inside them. In this video, we tell the story of Flint and the people who remain there.
You are in the ghetto right now.
I done saved 10 lives.
Culminating with a man who lost his life and is fighting to get it back. We entered Flint by pulling off a random highway stop. This is what we found.
Flint went down, man.
What happened?
The job.
Yeah.
People. I mean, it ain't nothing here for us to do. Nothing at all.
Yeah. No job.
No job.
The water. We, after 10 years, we're still waiting on our water settlement. This was the boomingest place on the earth. There was stuff to do. There was stuff to take your kids to go do. There wasn't so many killings and shootings and all these dope heads and drug heads and all that. This is hell on earth here.
I mean, you can drive down through here.
Prostitutes, johns, pimps, you name it.
Exactly.
You are in the ghetto right now. You are in the ghetto.
Flint was once the #1 boomtown. GM, America's largest car company for 77 years, was headquartered here and had its first factory here. At one point, it directly employed 80,000 of Flint's 200,000 people. Then, it all came crashing down. As industry collapsed in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Flint's population plummeted, falling below 100,000. Depopulation caused the city's tax base to dry up, creating a security crisis as crime soared and an economic crisis. In 2014, to save money, an official appointed by Michigan's governor had the city stop buying water from Detroit and start taking it from the Flint River. People immediately began complaining about the water's taste, color, and smell, and started reporting itchy skin, rashes, and hair loss. Despite the complaints, Flint kept taking its water from the river, and no one knew what the problem was. Then in 2015, a study found that over 40% of Flint water samples had significant levels of lead. It turned out that Flint River water was highly corrosive and officials hadn't installed a system to treat it. As it ran through Flint's aging pipes, lead was released into the water. Officially, 11 people died from the crisis, yet almost everyone we talked to insisted the number was much higher.
Her mother died.
I'm sorry about that.
My mother ended up with cancer because of water. I've lost, because of that water crisis, I think I've lost 3 babies to that water crisis. I've had 3 miscarriages, and I think that has something to do with it.
Yeah, man, my mother, she was sick, but she beat cancer, she beat all that shit. Then this fucking water came, and then my brother, he caught cancer from that shit. Now, he was a health nut. Oh, he was so particular. I'm gonna live longer. Fuck around here, caught cancer in his stomach, eat his stomach all up, and all in his spleen. When he found out he had it, it was too late. It's fucking water, man. Ain't no way they can tell me.
The government says that only 12 people died from the water.
That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit, because they make up excuses. You know, they make up excuses about that water. That water fucks some people up. Because before they found out the water was bad, how long had they been drinking this shit?
You know people who got sick from that water?
Me. I get sick from it now. If I have to drink it, I puke it.
Still.
Yep, right to this day. Yep.
If I drink it, I puke it.
You don't even drink it.
You can't drink it.
You're kidding.
No. Still.
Yeah.
I don't even give it to my animals.
The scandal led to even more depopulation, and in reality, the water crisis is the tip of the Flint iceberg. Today, streets look like this. Many people are waiting for a settlement check so they can move away. Whether they are entitled to that money or will ever get it is a different story.
If I can ask, what keeps you all here?
I'm waiting on my water settlement and I'm out of here. I'm leaving with Flint's money. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to Arizona.
You don't get shit. There has been a settlement. There has been a settlement.
One settlement.
That has come through, but it's affected most of the north end, not the rest of Flint.
So you guys haven't seen
I haven't seen a dime. I have one for my 17-year-old I just sent in the house. Not seen a dime.
Has there been any justice?
And they doing some old shit, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. My mother had a suit in, and I didn't follow it. There's a lot of shit I didn't know to find the paperwork to the lawyers and all that shit, so that just squandered, you know what I'm saying?
The resource shortage that caused Flint's water crisis persists. On this block we visited, there is no power, and they told us it would take 6 hours for the police to arrive if they called. Unable to rely on the authorities, people in Flint stick together.
We got Turban Head right here. My house is white. Next to me is the Mexican. Then is my granddaughter, she's white. All the way down is black on both sides. But like I said, we're all one family.
Right, we're one.
You mess with one, you got them all.
What happens in the winter when it gets so cold?
You stay in your house.
What do people, people in the abandoned buildings and stuff, what do? They
burn them down like that house right there.
Right there at the corner where you
Do you guys feel forgotten about by the government?
Yeah.
No. Want me to tell you why? I'm 64 years old. I've taken care of myself. The government can suck my white ass.
This family had a similar story.
And we obviously know Flint's had a rough go the last 10, 15 years.
I was gonna say 20 years, 30
20
maybe.
years?
Ever since I was born, so
Jeez.
yeah.
Your whole life.
Pretty much, yep.
Born
I used to live right
raised.
in that house over there.
Right over there.
Yeah, I used to live right there. Yeah, when you live over here, you kind of learn stop, drop, and roll very quick.
No.
Like, I had to learn that at a young age because when we lived in that White House over there was a shooting on this street, a drive-by.
It's okay.
Things happen. You don't know what it's over anymore. It could be over drugs. It took me years to accept that, like, this is how my childhood is now. It's almost gone. Like, the whole street's almost gone. It makes me want to cry. But if I think about it, it can get fixed. It can get fixed one day. It's like a person that will actually have good in them and have a good spirit and heart will come around and they'll try to fix something.
Outside of downtown, which has a university and some new businesses, Flint is extremely sketchy wherever you go. It's the north side that's most notorious, though. Shootings are a near daily occurrence.
Man, I lost my cousin and killed him dead last year right here, and my nephew, his son, right here on this street here, man, over just talking shit.
How young was the nephew?
19.
Wow. On this street?
Yeah, right on the corner right here on this side, yeah. And they killed my brother, his father, and I was standing right here and watched them do it, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't get down there fast enough. I ran down there and didn't even have my gun with me.
Most people around here have guns?
Everybody got guns. In Flint, you see these little 13-year-olds walking with backpacks. Hey, little fella got a gun, you know. And not to gun nobody down, but there's so much shit going on. You gotta have to do something to protect yourself.
This man, Freddy T, told us that when he was a kid, his parents and most others in the neighborhood worked at GM. Today, those jobs are gone, and most kids have been left with no resources and no role models.
No fathers in the home. These boys don't have a good guidance. They got women tendencies. They boys, you talk about us, we're gonna talk back about you and think of something. You talk about one of these little guys now, it's the death penalty. They got feelings like their mothers, I guess. I don't know, there's no fathers in these homes, they not tough. Yeah, these little dudes go in there to kill somebody, think they did something, put them in prison, they soft as fuck. And they come back out gay as fuck. They ain't got no mentors. If I could, they don't even have to pay me. I just want to talk to these motherfucking little dudes, cause
Amid this, Freddy said that people have had to find their superpowers. He knew his.
my gift is to save lives. And I ain't no doctor, I'm a street doctor though. But every human on this earth got some kind of power. 80% of the people die without ever figuring out what their special gift is.
What's your power?
Make peace with people, the gift of gab, the gift to bring peace. I done saved 10 lives.
Yeah.
Put your guns down.
Yeah.
My power was to make people listen and peace and harmony.
Yeah.
Everybody that I done touched, I done seen guys with guns to the head and I talked to them. They stop, that's my gift. You can't get that degree unless you're from the streets. You can't go to college and get that.
Yeah.
I just need these motherfuckers to listen.
Yeah.
Because they killing each other. It's the babies killing babies. So I'm leading my son in another direction in that.
Yeah.
Football practice, he's in camps. You know, he don't have time to fuck around. One of these motherfuckers killed my son, I'm through.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in there with Big John.
Another woman nearby told us something similar, that the lack of parenting is bringing crime to Flint.
Parenting is not like it used to be. We used to get our ass whooped, stitching cords, belt, shoe, fly swatter, water hose, whatever. And it may be a good person. I mean, you know the value of, you do something, you go home, you know what you're going to get your ass whooped. You know how type of whoopings you're going to come to. So if nowadays kids get a whooping or they get into trouble, my mama ain't going to do nothing. She going to sit me in front of a game and let me play.
Yeah.
There's no structure. But then they're killing it out in the streets, because when they get out in the streets do not care nothing about your kids. They're going to eat them up and spit them out alive. Police don't care. The law don't care. They're going to give them a number. So it's just like slavery. They're going to give them a number, and that number going to stick to you.
The most shocking conversation of our trip was about to happen. But before we get to that, we learned something interesting. Flint has so many abandoned buildings that the city keeps a teardown list. People can call authorities to say that a building needs to be torn down. If authorities agree, they condemn the building and put it on the list. Once there, it can take years to get a building torn down.
The city has to come in and condemn the property, and then it goes to another authority, which is called Land Bank. They'll come out, assess it, see if it can be rehabbed, and if not, then they'll put it on the teardown list, which is where it's at now, on the teardown list. Yeah.
How long will it be on the teardown list?
Ooh, this particular one right here probably been on that list for about 5 or 6 years.
Many people just burn buildings down instead, though, either intentionally or accidentally.
Once it got abandoned, people came in and took everything and burned it. Same with this house. Hopefully we get them tore down and we'll have the block to ourselves.
In some places, so many buildings have been torn down that Flint never looks like it was even a city.
So I'm in the country, pretty much, as you can see.
Many of Flint's abandoned buildings are schools, 47 of which have closed in the last few decades. Flint now has 1 public high school and 7 schools overall, down from 54 at its peak.
There's not much schools here no more. It's sad to say, all the schools kind of got shut down. And I used to go to Potter schools here when I was little, and I would not, personally from my experience going to those schools, I would not promote to send your children there. They have head lice problems. There's a high chance of your kid getting bullied or getting hurt. The teachers really don't care when I went there.
How are the schools for your grandkids?
My kids don't go to school around here.
Audrey Medlin, who runs after-school programs for Flint's youth, told us the city has double the rate of special ed of a typical school, in part because of the lead crisis.
There was a doubling of special ed education, as we know that lead has a direct impact on cognitive ability, regulation of emotion, and things of that nature. In a regular, general ed settings for a school district, about 12 to 14%, and Flint rose to about 28%. That has a devastating effect, especially on the budgets of schools and the impact on families and kids, their abilities to learn and regulate.
Now, the most powerful story we heard during our entire report came just as we were leaving the city and we spotted a man selling barbecue in an abandoned parking lot. We pulled over and started talking to him as we waited for our ribs, and he told us to Google his name and read his story.
What's happening? Dion Savage, 23 years, 54 days.
My name is Dion Savage. I was previously a businessman before I was unjustly, maliciously, and vindictively investigated, indicted, convicted, sentenced to a mandatory minimum life sentence.
Listen, man, you standing in a legendary spot in Flint, right here. If you go around Flint and ask about Dion's part stuff, you'll see. This was once a bustling business, man. Right here, where you stand.
In 1990, Dion Savage had been closing his business, Dion's Party Store, and as he counted his money, he saw a man being handcuffed outside.
Lieutenant Branford Barksdale beat and kicked Jobe Henderson while handcuffed outside of my store, which resulted in me being compelled to seek and obtain a restraining order, and the root cause of why I just spent 23 years and 54 days of my life away from them.
Savage ran outside to intervene, getting the police on his bad side. The police responded by harassing him, so much so that in 1991, he won a restraining order against the whole department. However, the department kept a grudge.
Then, the subordinate of Bradford Barksdale, who beat up Joby, he take a guy that used to work here for me, which was named Claude Carter. I spit because he was a lying dog, and I say his name. Anyway, they scared him, get on a witness stand, and say he was selling 3 to 4 ounces of crack for me every day out the store right here.
The investigation found no drugs on any of Dion's properties.
I'm also a big drug dealer, but I take the trial in my own defense, right? You know how many times the prosecutor asked me about dope? You know how many times he asked me? 1 time. They said over a 5-year period of time, I spent over $500,000 above and beyond what I claimed on my income tax, right? It wasn't dope. That's for damn sure. It wasn't dope. My jury was deadlocked from June 27th to July the 7th.
And the federal judge dismissed the juror.
Helen Turner.
So then it was no longer deadlocked.
That is correct. That is correct. And that evening, they returned a guilty verdict, July the 7th. Never touched the ground again as a free man until August 31st, 2020. 23 years and 54 days.
Attempt after attempt to get his case overturned or thrown out, nothing worked. But in 2013, the informant who testified against him submitted an affidavit, a sworn document, retracting his testimony. I was coerced by the Flint police to give false testimony against Dion Savage, and if I did not testify falsely against Dion, not only did I fear for my life, but I was told I would get 20 years in prison if I did not testify, he wrote. Dion Savage is not a drug dealer, nor was he involved in a drug conspiracy as I falsely testified. 5 others signed affidavits validating this, saying that Carter told him he lied in court for fear of his life.
But he admitted that I wasn't a drug dealer. He admitted all that, right? And he admitted how he was forced to lie, right? I submitted that to the courts. You hear me? I didn't even get a hearing. You heard me. I didn't even get a hearing.
In 2018, though, Congress passed and President Trump signed the First Step Act, a criminal justice reform law.
The new law came in and you needed 8.4 kilograms to trigger the mandatory minimum under 848B. I didn't have that in my indictment. Judge, 25 years, walked right out because I had 23 in.
On August 21st, 2020, Savage walked out of federal prison and returned to find a city in ruins.
Man, the goddamn houses. All the houses, they're gone. The businesses, gone, man. Gone. Yeah, gone. I was done so wrong, man. So wrong. They crushed my little empire. That little empire. 30.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. We release 2 mini docs a week. Thank you for watching. Don't miss the next one. Also, if you want to support Dion, you can do so at the GoFundMe link in our description below. Thank you for watching.
Why do you think Flint produces so many great athletes?
The water.